Whenever we talk about waste elimination, generally people give a lot of examples in the shop floor, right? In a manufacturing shop floor, we can find a lot of waste, the 7 waste, etc. But we also get a lot of queries or interesting questions. Where are the wastes, in office spaces? Right? Many companies, many clients, they used to ask me, can we find waste in the office environment also? So today in this particular video, we are going to explain where are the areas you can spot waste in a typical office environment. Let us say like a finance or accounts department or HR department or your sales back office, customer support, etc. So come, let's get started. Hi there, this is Anand, your lean manufacturing consultant, and in this particular video, I'm going to explain about the waste which we can spot in the office environment. I have categorized these waste into three major headings. The first one is work related, the second one is business process related, and the third one is work environment related. So let us look at the first point, that is work related. This work related, the first sub point is the waiting time. For example, people are not available. There is a particular activity which we need to do, but on that particular table or in that desk, the people is not there. The people are not available in that seat. So we have to wait for that particular person to come, and then only the person can do the work. Sometimes we wait for the information, right? Waiting for a document to be approved in the ERP, so that then the material goes to the next department. The waiting is one of the most common examples which we can see in an office environment. For example, the waiting for the packing slip to be printed, then only we can send the material to the customer's place. So this is also a waiting which is due to the office environment, that is putting the document or creating the document in the computer and getting a printout. So this is the first example, that is waiting time. And the second waste is the searching. Whenever we are searching for physical documents, for example, in an accounts department, they will have to. There is a clarification for a particular supplier's invoice, like let us say 2 months back. So now they have to go back, to 2 months document, and then they have to fetch this particular invoice. So this may take a lot of time if they are not very organized. So this searching of physical documents is one big waste. And the second one is, sometimes we also do a lot of searching in our computers. If the files are not organized, if the version controls are not properly organized, people will find it very hard to search for a particular document. Right? In many times we don't find it also. Then we call the person and ask them to send it again, etc. So the searching is the second waste in an office environment. And the third one is frequent interruptions in the workplace. For example, you'll get a lot of telephone calls during our work. Sometimes it may be from our non-office people, right, like our family, friends, etc. And many times it is maybe from the office environment also, from some other department, from our customers, from our suppliers, from other department for some queries, etc. So what happens is we will not be able to focus our time and effort on a particular activity without this interruption. There will be a lot of interruptions, right? So this is one major waste which we can identify. For this, what we can do is we can ask the other departments to give them a particular time, right? So that you can say between 10 to 11 I will attend these department calls. Between 11 to 12 I will attend these other department calls. Like this, you can schedule a time so that at a particular time you can focus on those activities, and remaining time you can focus on your work. So that is one thing which you can do. And second point is discussions not related to the office. For example, office environment, we generally plan a lot of things, right? Many things are not related to office also, right? Maybe we have a good colleagues, right? We may plan for some movie or trip, etc. So all those things generally it also happens in the office many times. So these are all things which we can be avoided. And then the third point itself, we have a lot of meetings, right? There are many companies where meetings take up a lot of time, and we have actually made a separate video related to meetings. What are the best practices you can follow, or what are the things to avoid in the meetings? So that video link also you can find it here, right? So this is the third point in the office waste. Then the fourth one is information overload. I've seen many companies, the factory heads or the department heads are copied in all their emails. Whatever their subordinates send, they will be CC'd in that email. In a day, they get about 300 to 500 emails a day. And most of the things they kind of ignore, or it becomes an information overload, right? These small things don't need this kind of information, right, being CC'd in all the mails. They only want to look at, or they only want to think about the important information. So you don't have to CC an email to all your bosses and all the people in the company. So that is one particular thing. And sometimes we also have too many data points for a particular information, which creates this information overload, which again hinders the decision making. The next point is the errors or the mistakes we make in our work. For example, sometimes we make wrong entry in the documents, careless mistakes, right? And whenever a human being is involved for a particular repetitive task, the mistakes will happen, right? We cannot completely eliminate that, but there can be some systems like Pokayoke systems where if a person has to type a date, we can always have the drop down instead of manually typing it, right? So these kind of things can be implemented. So these are the 5 things which comes under the work related waste. Then we are going to talk about the business processes itself. There are some waste which will get generated due to the business processes, right? So the first one is excess inventory. Inventory generally we associate with the manufacturing setup, where we talk about raw material, WAP or FG. But in service areas, in office areas also, there is an inventory, meaning an accounts department executive, he has to process a lot of files, right? If there is too much of files in his table, right, and he takes a particular time to check all the documents and do his work, and then if he has piles and piles of documents, it becomes an excess inventory for him, right? Some companies, they do the supplier invoicing, the processing during the month ends. So in the last week of the month, people will always be busy, they will stay overtime, right? And sometimes they may make a lot of mistakes during this process. Similarly, if consider an example of a customer care executive. When we call a person customer care executive, generally there will be waiting, right? We find it. We sometimes get this. For example, the message will say, you have to wait for 3 minutes because the customer care executive is busy, which means the customers are waiting for that particular person and the person is busy, right? And this is an higher inventory, excess inventory for that person to handle. So this is the first waste due to the business processes. The second one is handovers. Whenever a particular material moves from one department to other, or an information goes from one department to other, there are a set of handovers which are required, right? The approvals, sometimes it is manual, signatures may be required. So, and we have to wait for that particular person, to get his signature. And sometimes they do multiple, redundant documentation, duplicate, triplicate copies, which many times it may not be required. People don't go back and evaluate that. So those kind of things can be avoided. That is the excess handover. The next point is attrition. Whenever there is somebody who left the office or is transferred to some other department, a new person is coming to this particular place, he or she doesn't know what are the basic processes. So the SOPs, which we typically associate with the process in a manufacturing company, generally people don't find it in the office environment. For example, HR processes, finance processes, purchase processes. So those processes also can have this SOP, so that it's easy for us to train the new person, so that the learning curve is much shorter and the errors can be reduced. And waste, which is related to the business process. And then the third point related to business process is the transportation of documents. There are some companies which still move the documents physically, right? We have to take a printout, they have to check, somebody will check it, approve it, there are multiple approvals. So the document moves from one table to another table. Like a government office, there are files which go through different tables. So this is one waste which you can find in many offices. Third one. And the fourth one is the technology part. Whenever a new technology is being introduced, like let us say computerization of a particular department, right? There needs to be some training, right? People need to be trained on those processes. Sometimes it takes a long time, a lot of errors. People do it parallelly. They also they try the new things, new system, but they also have the old ones. They don't want to leave this, right? So parallelly they will be doing it. So these are the things which we find it in an office space. So this is under technology. And then we have sometimes the glitches in the software. If imagine your office is present slightly outside outskirts of the city, and where there is poor internet connection, but you are running the ERP, which requires a very strong internet connection. So there are a lot of frequent outages of internet which affects your ERP. In this case, your entire activities will slow down or it will get interrupted because of the lack of internet or frequent stoppages of internet. So this is a under business processes, this particular waste. The fifth one is lack of clarity. Lack of clarity of work, or no training, no SOPs. Right? People need to be very clear on their job responsibilities. What are the things my management expects from me, and what are the SOP, standard operating procedures, etc. In many companies, they don't have this. It's very rare in the purchase, then stores, your office environment, HR, and then customer care, etc. So you can bring a lot of clarity of work that helps in reducing some of this waste. And then sometimes the senior management is not very consistent with their priorities. Right? Sometimes they will say, okay, in this month I want to focus only on this. Suddenly in the next month they will say something else. Right? So the people get confused what I have to do. Right? What is my priority? So those things can be avoided. And third one is unclear targets and appraisal systems for employees. If the goals are not very clear, if the appraisal system is not very clear, again people get confused. So this is related to business processes. Third major heading which we discussed is work environment related. This is primarily due to poorly designed work environment. I would say, in many companies I have seen nowadays this open office setup, right, where everybody is sitting in the one floor or one main hall, which means I'm not able to focus without interruptions in my work. Whenever somebody's phone rings, everybody in that line gets disturbed, and somebody takes a phone call, again it affects everybody. So this open cubicle system or open office system generally it does more harm than benefiting the company. They always say there is a lot of collaboration happening and all that, but I don't think so. I mean, generally there is a lot of disturbances. That is my again, this is my personal view. Second one is sometimes the atmosphere is very noisy, right? When the office environment is located near the manufacturing setup, right, there is a lot of machine noise will happen. So again, it disturbs the people. Sometimes the workplace is not very illuminated properly, or there is a lack of air conditioning. All those physical work ambience related activities that also affects the productivity. So these are all the various waste which you can find in an office environment. I am pretty sure you'll find a lot of these waste in your company also. Please, you can share it in the comment section. And if I missed out any particular point, you can also highlight it in the comment section. Question for this particular week is, how many points were covered under work related waste? Option A 4, option B is 3, and option C is 5. You can give the correct answer in the comment section, and one lucky winner will get a gift from us. If you like this particular video, you can subscribe to our channel, and you can also click the bell icon so that whenever we post a new video, you'll get a notification. You can also share it with your friends and teammates so that they can also learn about this waste in the office environment. And if you are interested in learning more about lean or manufacturing operations, you can consider joining our lean master course, which is an in-depth course on lean manufacturing, covering the history of lean, value stream mapping, POK, 5S, SMED, almost all the lean tools are covered in depth in this lean master course. And if you want to be a generalist in manufacturing, right, you want to go up in the career, you have to understand entire operations of a manufacturing company. So manufacturing leadership program will help you on learning about that. It covers 17 different topics for a shop floor manager to go up in the career. For example, production, quality, maintenance, stores, HR, right, safety, Excel tips, PowerPoint tips, soft skills, telephone etiquette, email etiquette. All these topics are covered in this particular program called Manufacturing Leadership Program. I will leave the link of these two programs in the description. You can check them out, and they are very attractively priced at just $9.99 per course. And many companies are using these programs for their training programs for their employees also. So thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. See you. Bye bye.